let's get some water. Can you hear me? Does it work? Yeah, good. Host. No, that's another country. Sorry. Okay. So this is a keynote where you're allowed to make some noise. Yeah. Not like that. Okay. You can laugh and you can cry, but not when I'm talking. Okay. So I make comic strip, agile comic strips, and thanks to the organizers for doing this, and for Motorola, of course. It's a free event, right? Must mean they have too much money, I guess. I don't know. So let's jump into it. My mission with all of this is to get more humor into our daily lives. We're missing some humor. Do you agree? Yeah. So the way I'm doing it is addressing what doesn't work in Agile by comic strips. How many have seen our comic strips? Oh, a couple of people haven't. If you could just go. So I'm going to spend the next 45 minutes selling my workshop at 10:30. Okay? This is the agenda. I have a little introduction, then we're going to show some comic strips, and then there's going to be a surprise. Oh, so now it's not a surprise anymore. Yeah. So, and then I'll tell you again to remember to join my workshop. So I'm going to do two things you're never supposed to do. I'm going to read off of the screen because I'm going to read some comic strips. So it's okay, forgive me. The next thing is I'm going to use a font called Comic Sans. You never use that. Never use that. Unless you make comic strips or you're a school teacher, then it's okay. Okay. So this is me when I was a bit skinnier. I'm the writer of this little thing we got going on. I have a partner, Mikkel. He's a UXer, so he draws. So it's my frustrations. I write them down, and then we have a very big handover where he takes it and draws it. It's a very waterfall-like process. I worked as an agile consultant, independent one. Had different roles for the last 14 years. PO, release train engineer, agile coach, all of this stuff. I come from a technical background as a software engineer, so that actually I've never been paid to code, but it gives me some street credit, right? So engineer, whoo. Okay. So we have around 88,000 hardworking followers on LinkedIn. We publish one new comic strip every day, not every day, every week. Do any of you follow us? Yes, yes. If not, do that. It's free. Okay. You don't have to ask your boss in Motorola to do it. You can just do it. Okay. You know, it equals around 88 million teenagers on TikTok. So it's a big number, right? So we made a couple of books. Who has our books? Yes, one person. Great, awesome. Okay. Oh, two persons. Yeah, they're not free. So obviously something is not working when working agile. We've been saying this for 20 years, I think, but it's still not been fixed. So let's try to do something else to try to fix it. Let's try to use humor. Yeah, okay. So the approach we take with our comic strips here, make people laugh. And the reason they laugh is usually because they can kind of relate. Then they reflect. Why was that funny? Or why did I cry? And then hopefully they improve. That's the goal of all of it, right? It's not just to sell books. It's also to sell books, but it is for people to improve. Okay? So the theme of the conference, the leader, a modern day superhero, right? That's the theme. So my claim is that if leaders are to become or remain superheroes, they need to create the space where employees can discuss what isn't working, right? This is what we need them to create the space. Like psychological safety comes from the top. We don't like things coming from the top and down, but actually psychological safety is one of the things we need to be brought from the top. Do you agree? Yes, but maybe even with humor. That didn't work in Germany, but maybe here it could work. So we're going to talk about some different roles here. A lot of roles. How many people working as Scrum Master? Wow. How many people working as Agile Coach? Scrum Masters are also Agile Coaches, right? How many working as Product Owner? Developer? Yeah, people are actually creating value. Good, 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 good. How many people working as managers? Wow, project managers. Yeah. The rest, I don't know what. Anyone? Architects? Architects? Yeah, one architect. There's one architect always. Yes, at least they think they're an architect, right? Okay, so how does the story usually start? Usually, someone wants to become an agile coach, right? There are different ways of starting it. Now we're looking at from the person. Some scrum master typically wants to become an agile coach. They heard that's the cool thing, right? So they go to some sort of coach and say, hey, coach says, oh, hello. I don't know, she was busy. She was very busy. Right? Okay, so he says, oh, I want to become an agile coach, but I don't know how. Can you help me? Sure, she says. Here, let me borrow your laptop. First you go here, then you click here, delete this right here, and click the congratulations. But you only updated my LinkedIn headline. So the thing is, that's how you become an agile coach. Don't go to courses. Everyone is an agile coach on LinkedIn, right? It's not a protected title. And what's the next thing that happens? You go to a job interview, right? And I need to use the computer here. So go to a job interview, right? This is the hiring manager over here, and a potential employee over here. And the hiring manager says, yeah, we really want to become an agile organization. And the candidate says, and I have successfully transformed several organizations. But the real question is, who's the biggest liar? Nobody has done this, right? But they still claim, I even claim it, right? So what about the leaders? They have a role in all of this, right? So here's a leader. You get hired, you go into the organization, and then you look at some sort of line manager here, right? And she's saying, come on, team, work faster. Then you say, okay, dear manager, can I have a word with you? When we work agile, we don't pressure our teams to run faster. It's not sustainable, motivational, nor the management approach that we want. Okay, the leader says, okay. Instead, we want to deliver more value frequently to the customer. Come on, team, add more value. Yeah. Of course. Okay, of course, much of what I show now is not relevant for Motorola, right? But I promise not to bring anything that's yeah. Okay, so here's another boss. I really believe in empowering you guys as a Scrum team, and I fully support you in self-organizing. The manager says to the team. Then he continues. So don't ask me how to do things. I completely trust you all to make the right decisions in your daily work. Have you heard that before? Then, so of course, the developer has a comment or a question. But since you don't really understand our architectural discussions and technical dilemmas, how would you make those decisions anyway? Come with me, Diego. I just made a decision I can make. So the thing is, technical decisions making has always been with the team, right? These line managers, they don't get it anyways, right? So that's with the team. But we want them to also pass on non-technical decision making and mandate. For instance, prioritization, stakeholder management, removing impediments across the organization, stuff like that, the team can actually do as well. The more the team can do, the more autonomous they are, and the more flow we can create in the team, right? We don't want to wait for people, we don't want handovers. So we want managers to pass that on as well. So here's a developer talking to a manager. Therefore, I'd really like to go on that Kubernetes course. Sorry, but we don't have the budget for courses this year. But we can make a free conference. Oh, sorry, no. But forget that. Sorry, but we don't have the budget for courses this year. Couldn't you learn? Couldn't you learn about it from some of the other developers instead? Oh, it's worth a shot, I guess. Then a bit later, manager talks to Scrum Master. How come your velocity last sprint was only 12 when it's usually around 20? Because we invested some time in pair programming and mob programming. And get it back up to 20 this sprint. And don't waste your time sharing knowledge. It slows down your deliveries, right? So a key point about velocity is it's only for the team, right? If anyone asks you to report on your velocity, find a new job, okay? The velocity is for the team to inspect how it's going. If it's fluctuating a lot, you better do something about it, right? Maybe some people convert it into hours and budgets and so on, but let them do that, as long as that feedback doesn't go back to the team, right? It's for the PO to forecast how much you can deliver, and for you as Scrum Masters to kind of inspect and fix something in your process. Yeah, the velocity is only for the team, the sprint velocity. Okay? So here's a big manager talking to small managers. Let's see if this one works. It's going really well with our Agile initiative. We can all be proud. Small manager saying, we now have Scrum and Kanban teams running as Agile release trains, but shouldn't we change as managers as well? You misunderstood something. Agile is all about teams. Since we're not part of teams, it's got nothing to do with us. Now on to something more important, the annual budgeting process. So the thing is, we're shooting a bit at managers right now, right? But they're part of the system. Nobody's evil, but the system can be evil, right? So we want to fix the system. So if once a year they need to lock the iron triangle, time, budget, scope, then there's no more wiggle room for product owners to steer the product in a different direction. So this is typically the reason for the behavior we see. This is typically why Agile doesn't work, because once a year, all the funding happens instead of continuously. And the funding is locked to a scope. That's when the problem arises, right? So in Agile, we still have a timeline and a resource, or you could say a cost, but we keep the scope flexible, right? Through transparency, we adjust the scope, not the budget and not the timeline, but the scope and not the quality. Okay, I said scope. We'll get back to that. So the predicament that we find these middle managers, these so-called superheroes in, is this. Standing there on one side, you have the big boss saying, get in control. And then on the other side, you have the team. Wait, whoa. Close your eyes. On the other hand, you have the team saying, empower us. So the question is, who's going to shoot? Who do you think is going to shoot first? The boss? Who? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. He has a gun behind his back, right? He's going to shoot himself. Some of them really should, right? Don't. Okay, so here's the big boss saying, we are going agile. A bit later, he talks to the agile coach. We're not getting the expected business benefits out of working agile. She asks, did you make the needed changes to your management approach so teams can be truly empowered and self-managing? We're going back to waterfall. Okay, so management needs to change as well. If you really want to go agile, there's some self-inspection that needs to happen as well, right? You can't just run Scrum and then still have like a waterfall-based process around all of it and top-down control and all that stuff. You need to look into what is management in an agile context, right? So how can we fix all of this? We introduce consultants, external consultants. Do you know these guys? They're from Agile BS Consulting. Anyone know what BS stands for? Agile Business Solutions. Business. Yeah, so they're really good. They never tried it before, but they're really expensive. So the manager talks to Agile BS. They're saying, I feel there's a gap between our new Agile organization and our official organizational setup. But I really don't want to push for a reorg. It's too much of a hassle. They have the solution. Your organization needs a dual operating system. Yeah. The first OS is your official organization, and the second OS is your Agile one. In this way, you can do your Agile thingy without changing anything in your real organization, problem solved, right? You might have seen this. Sometimes they show this when you're going to transform into Agile release trains and so on. So the thing is, if you keep having two systems, you need some sort of mapping, right? Then you're still going to have gates, for instance, and an official organization and your actual organization. Then you need like Agile project managers to map between these and so on, right? So the idea is, don't do that. That's a lot of waste. Make your network-based organization your actual organization, right? Yeah, so if you have an Agile release train, make that your actual organization. You can choose to have different systems, but then you're going to spend a lot of time mapping, right? Both in your hierarchy and also in your delivery processes. But it's much easier to say than do, actually, right? So the general problem we want to solve is this, right? Yeah? We have the business over here, we have IT over here. Everyone wants to be one team, but really there's huge gap in between. So we bring in a PO to solve everything. Look how happy he is. So we introduced the PO, but before that, there's a manager saying, "I want you to work on this." Then the team says, "It's not really agile for a manager to tell us what to work on." Then he's back a little bit later. "I want you to work on this right away." Huh? You see the hat, right? Sometimes we just give people, often managers like line managers, a hat, and now they're POs. If you have people accountability, you can have product accountability. But let's remember that a PO job is a full-time job, right? If they're doing other things, something is gonna break. It's both about looking outwards into the market and competitors and other solutions and platforms, but also looking inwards towards the team. And how can you do that? When I worked as a product owner, it was really full-time job. So I think that's how many people feel, but they're not always allowed to do it full-time. So they find someone from the business to act as the PO, right? So it's the team talking to the business PO. It's so great to have someone from the business take up the PO role, the Scrum Master says. PO is happy. I'm also really happy to get closer to you guys. It's all about bridging the gap between the business and you engineers so we can become one team. Great, let's get started. Then, of course, the developer has a question. Should we prepare our backend for future vertical scaling, or should our focus rather be on normalizing the data for improving the performance? Yeah, and we're missing some non-functional requirements. What the PO from the business hears is, yeah, what the hell? That's not his fault, right? We want developers to speak normal human language to business POs, right? Your Scrum Masters help them do that. At least tell them do that, because they need to translate that into what it means, what implications does it have for the product and the end users. Maybe the system's a bit slower than usual. What does it mean for performance, availability, and so on, right? That's what we want to talk about. Here's a customer talking to a PO. So could you add a view of the historical performance to the application? PO says, great suggestion. Let me talk to my immediate internal stakeholder group and get back to you. Then he goes to his internal stakeholder group. Yeah. Sometimes in the enterprises, this is how it feels. Being a PO, got to talk to your stakeholders, right? Looks galactically big, right? Yeah. So the point here is not all of your stakeholders are as important as they think. There are different tools to categorize stakeholders, right? Like an interest power matrix and so on, and figure out that only maybe 70% of these people are okay with an email after you make the decision, even though they think they need to be involved in the decision making. So try to challenge, if you have this big group, try to challenge them, right? What I thought personally was the most fun part about being a product owner was this product discovery, gazing into the stars, figuring out new customer needs, making it into features. But sometimes product discovery looks rather like this. And that sucks, right? Because then the scope is already locked once a year when we did the financial budgeting, right? So if you need to adhere to some sort of requirement specification, make sure that that one is as high level as possible, right? Maybe on a value stream level or product line level. Don't lock the full iron triangle. Don't talk about the scope when you lock the contract or whatever you have, right? This is what makes you able to adapt. So for me, the most important role when working agile in order to enable agility is a product owner, an empowered product owner, right? Because they're aligned with the customer needs and they can lead the team in the right direction. But if they're not empowered, it's going to take a long time adapting, right? So to help all of this, we hire a Scrum Master. Yeah, we're going to talk about you now. So Scrum Master's job interview, manager says, yeah, we're a team-oriented agile organization, and our teams are the foundation of everything we do. Besides our developers, even we managers work as teams, and so does HR, marketing, sales, and all the other staff functions. Sounds good. I can't wait to start. Then she starts first day. Welcome. Let me introduce you to your team. And then, so the notion of a team really varies from one company to another. Sometimes managers, they have like 40 people and they say this is my team. No, it's not your team. It's your random group of people who are together, right? So team is usually quite smaller than this, but we still see companies talking about departments as teams. So here's a manager talking to a Scrum Master. Congrats with your new Scrum Master certification. Any one of you took Scrum Master certifications? Yeah, don't be afraid. Yeah, good. But that's good. It's good with knowledge. Pretty good, actually, Scrum Master says. How's it going? Pretty good. Even though we never have a sprint goal, the PO doesn't want sprint reviews, and the developers hate doing sprint retrospectives. I really feel we're getting into the agile spirit. So what are you doing? We agreed to call it Kanban. Yeah? I know some of you are doing this, and I know why you're doing it. Okay, so let's remember that running Kanban is not just because Scrum is difficult or because you have grumpy developers who don't want the meetings. Kanban is, for instance, if you have very dynamic environment or a lot of operations and so on, right? It's a flow system. So when you have capacity, you take in work, and you could do all sort of crazy analysis. But if Scrum doesn't work and you're a development team, figure out why that is. Is it because you have like sub teams in the teams? Can't you create a common focus? Why is that? Is it because of competencies or somebody not being able to prioritize? What is the actual reason that Scrum is difficult? Figure that out before just jumping to Kanban. You can use elements of Kanban, of course, but don't abandon Scrum fully if you don't have a really good reason for it. There's a reason why so many teams work with that, right? Kanban could be the right choice for many, yeah? Just like waterfall could. So in order to navigate all of this, we need some seasoned Scrum Master, right? Like a senior veteran warrior, someone like this guy. He's tried it a lot of places. I think he even worked at Siemens, actually. Yeah. Oh, anyways. And he's cool because he smokes, right? But what type of Scrum Master is it that management hires? This guy. Sorry. I'm not saying it looks like some of you, but for some reason, the organization or the management thinks that Scrum Master is a junior role. It's not a junior role; it's a senior role, right? You're accountable for the effectiveness of like 6, 7, 8 really angry developers, right? How can you do that as like a student helper or straight out of school? I think you need some seniority because then you can get more out of the role as well. Scrum Master is also about not just facilitating, right? It's also about coaching, mentoring, change management, psychology, all this stuff. So it's a senior role, but many organizations think it's just about calling in for meetings. It's not just a secretary role, right? It's a change agent. Yeah? I'm not saying you're babies, but the perception that some managements and organizations have is that it's a junior role, and it is not. If we have really good Scrum Masters, we don't need Agile coaches. Yeah? Are you an Agile coach? Not yet. I don't think you'll be that now. So you'll know. So for all this to work, psychological safety. You guys been talking about psychological safety? Yes. To me, it's a foundation of working agile. If you don't have that, there's no room for making mistakes and learning, right? So one of the consultants is back. They always want to sell something. So the lack of psychological safety is detrimental to a successful agile transformation. Therefore, dear managers, no one should be punished for errors or questions in the pursuit of continuous improvement or higher performance. So a bit later, the manager talks to her team. So I want you to know that it's totally fine to voice your opinions, whatever they are. Of course, developer says, okay, then I don't see how line management adds any value to our agile way of working. Pack your things. Okay, so this is one direction, it's upwards, right? We need psychological safety in order to challenge upwards. but there's also another direction. So here's a manager saying, I'm so happy that you guys scored so well on our internal psychological safety assessment. Yeah, team agrees. And even though you're our boss, we can finally challenge you. We can challenge you if we don't agree, fail our experiments without getting punished for it, and truly be ourselves. A lot of psychological safety. A little bit later, Scrum Master talks to developers. So I think it's time that we start doing some pair programming to share knowledge and increase our code quality. Ha, I'd love to see Dave's code. I don't want to show it. This is going to be fun. Okay. So there's also psychological safety across your peers, right? In the team, for instance. So even though we have it upwards towards our managers and so on, we need to invest in having it across the team as well and on the peer levels as well, right? Maybe some people are even more afraid on that level because they're like professional peers. They don't want to really show their level or what they don't understand and so on, right? So we need to invest in doing it on our own organizational level as well. Yes? So psychological safety is a group of agile coaches talking. One of the reasons I love working agile is because of its focus on inclusivity. Yeah, making it safe for everyone to contribute leads to better results. When everyone feels part of the team, all perspectives are included, which ultimately improves our decisions, collaboration, value add, and job satisfaction. And the fourth coach says, so since we're struggling with dependencies, I had a thought. What if we manage them by using some elements of SAFe? Yeah. Yeah. So there's a limit to the psychological safety here, right? Just don't talk about SAFe. Okay. So I think we also need to kind of open up and not shame people for doing things in other ways. So emotional intelligence, have you started talking about that? Because that's also something that more and more people are starting to address in teams. The more you have of that, the better it'll be to actually be in a team, the easier it'll be. So consultants, of course, introduce the concept. So emotional intelligence, or EQ, is the ability to recognize and understand one's own and others' feelings. This will help you lead your teams, resolve conflicts, communicate effectively, build empathy and trust, and much more. So a little bit later, team says, why doesn't this compile? I can't find the bug the users reported. Oh, then they're happy. Fixed it. Works now. Woohoo, yeah. Oh, failing again. I hate my life. How's EQ going to help me when the emotions fluctuate more than our sprint velocity? Yeah. So, a fun fact here is I actually asked ChatGPT that I want to make an agile comic strip about emotional intelligence. Please write me a punchline. And ChatGPT actually wrote me this one. Then I had to make a comic strip out of it, only for this one. Shouldn't have said that. Okay, so I really think we as agile coaches should become better at asking the right questions and listening more. Have you heard about that? When I say I work as an agile coach, people are like, "Oh, coach, so you ask questions?" But no, I actually just solve problems, right? But some people would like agile coaches to be better at actually coaching. So that's what this is about. Yeah, we should coach others to find the solutions themselves instead of always just telling them how. This applies to Scrum Masters, of course, also. So here's a Scrum Master asking the Agile coach, our stories always spill over and we never meet our sprint goal. Agile coach says, why is that? I don't know, maybe because we're working with a new technology? How could you manage that? I don't know, that's why I'm asking you. What are you feeling right now? So sometimes, we're not really coaches, we're just problem solvers or advisors, right? But let's think about when coaching could actually help. It's an advanced topic, right? So you need to be really good at it. You need to have a contract with the one you coach. But sometimes we just want to give the answers and not ask questions, okay? So it's a balance. It's a stance. So let's focus a bit on the team. What time is it? There's a break afterwards. Yes, we're good. You won't believe it, guys, the Scrum Master says to developers, or some person says to developers. Why on earth would you do I convinced management to go agile. Why on earth would you do that? Now I have to go to all sorts of stupid meetings. We just want to code, give us a requirement specification and leave us alone. So the question is, who asked these poor developers whether they even want to work agile, right? So one of the things developers experience when going agile is that there are a lot of meetings, especially if you work scaled. Do you work scaled, like in Safe or something like that? Spotify? No? Huh? Yeah. And especially when you do that, there are more meetings. But let's remember that that's not the meetings that are waste. The waste are usually the other meetings you also have, like department meetings, status meeting, budget meetings, team meetings without cake, stuff like that. The agile events are there to inspect, right? Inspect either the plan, your process, or your product. So they should not be wasteful. Yeah? So there was like one architect in this room, right? Where are you? There you are. So your name is Alan now, okay? So team is really happy that they're working agile. I'm so happy that both management and our customers understand the importance of working agile when a domain is so complex. Product owner agrees. Yes, moving away from the enormous requirement specification phase upfront has really helped us adapt as we get wiser. Here comes Alan, he's the architect. Hi Alan, where you been the last couple of weeks? At home, making our target architecture here. He brings a huge pile of paper, right? So for some reason, we understand that business requirements, we don't want to waterfall that, want to learn as we go and discover and so on. But for some reason, people like Alan, the poor guy down there, they're expected to bring the technical truth from the beginning. This is the truth. This is what we need to implement. That still happens a lot of places. But we cannot be more agile than the technical foundation allows us to be. So how can we expect the architecture to be fully fleshed out and defined when requirements come as we go, right? But sometimes, Alan sits here when he does his work up in the ivory tower. And what we want is for this guy to build the architecture, evolve it and so on, emerge it together with the teams as they get wiser. Right? It's okay to have architecture principles and so on, but the goal architecture should be built, together with the teams. Do you agree? Disagree? Oh, yeah. Then someone hears about scaling. Yeah? Have you heard about scaling? Avoid it if you can, okay? Because it is overhead. But there could be good reasons for doing it. So here's an internal Agile coach saying, based on my observations, interviews, and metadata from deployment pipelines from numerous teams, I strongly suggest that we invest in removing our dependencies to accelerate our team's delivery of value. Wow, that was a lot. Management team says, you're too ideological. That might work in theory, but this is real life. External consultant, you have many dependencies, you need safe. Take our money. So, but what we need to figure out here is what's the reason we want to scale? Often it's because there are a lot of dependencies between teams, right? And let's remember that adding more overhead to manage dependencies is just treating the symptoms. Let's figure out what the reason is we have dependencies in the first place and invest in removing them. It could be because of the architecture, right? Typically, it could be because of the organization. It could be because of the competencies and so on. So many reasons for that. But let's invest in identifying that and doing something about that instead of investing in overhead, right? Having big room plannings, having extra roles and artifacts is basically overhead. I know we're never going to be an organization with no dependencies, but I'll bet you that you can have fewer than you have today. Yeah. So Safe is out in 6.0 now, right? Anyone like certified in Safe? Come on, just show me. Yeah, show yourselves. Yeah, good. Not yet. Are you working hard to? Yeah, just stop. Okay. So in 6.0, there's a focus on flow. So I like the increased focus on flow in Safe 6.0. In particular, I like that they made flow an explicit part of the Safe principles. The other coach says, especially the 8 flow accelerators will get value delivery going. You know what would really accelerate flow? What? Breaking dependencies between teams and not having to run Safe. All right, so that's kind of the if they had that as a principle, I could respect it. Okay, but look at how well it's going with Agile. It's great. Management, a couple of managers looking at the teams. The teams are happy, hugging, high-fiving, everything, right? It's great how our investment in working agile has paid off. Yes, it has really brought the business and IT together. Look at how close they are now. And then, yeah. Yeah. I want you to prioritize my stuff. No, we need to reduce tech debt. The customer wants more AI. I'll escalate this to your manager. So, looking from far away, it can look like it's going really well. But if you look into the trenches, not really, not really. And when is this madness over, right? This agile. When are we done? So here's a manager asking a couple of agile coaches, when can we consider our tragic transformation? Yeah. When can we consider our agile transformation done? Well, that's difficult to say because we're never really finished. Yeah, our teams are an organization, will continuously be improving themselves. And okay, I'm sure you can figure out a way to answer this question. And it needs to be backed by data. No, that was the cool word before AI, data. Okay. A little bit later, they're back, they figured out how to do it. So we think that our agile transformation can be considered a success when, don't worry about it, I figured out when it's done. Oh, really? When? When the transformation budget runs out. Huh? Yes. That's a little tip for you. But really, let's measure the outcome of working agile. Working agile is just a means to something, right? For me, it's a means to getting happier employees and then happier customers, right? So maybe you can also look at employee happiness, customer happiness, but also maybe lead time. From idea is spawned to value is delivered, how long does that take? How can you reduce that? Not by coding faster, but by waiting less, right? What are the cues and how can we reduce those? Indicators like that, I think will indicate whether your agile transformation is really going well. But most companies just look at the budget, right? So, but let's remember, I'm finishing off now. Using Scrum to become agile, or Kanban, or SAFe to become agile, is a bit like using a scale to lose weight. I tried that. This is not where you're supposed to laugh, okay? So obviously it doesn't work. It'll show you how bad it's going. It'll show you how many block tasks you have. It'll show you how much you really weigh. Happy this guy isn't more brown. So okay. But fixing the reasons you have block tasks. Why do all the teams have dependencies to the data warehouse team or the SAP team? Can we fix some of that? That's what will make you agile. So I guess here it's like exercising more and eating less or something. I don't know. But it's fixing the reasons. Scrum and all this will only show you like a mirror how it's really going. And your faults will be very visible, or your shortcomings will be very visible. It will not fix anything. Okay? So clearly something is not working. And my point is, let's use humor to talk about it. In my case, it's agile and it's comic strips, but it can be anything, right? Can even be talking about managers on how they can become better superheroes than they are today. And I do workshops. I do one in 45 minutes. I think there are 20 people signed up. Maybe there's room for more. Just run. I also try to make some more consultants. Like agile consultants have a really bad reputation, so I want to improve their reputation. There's not so much bullshit. So I'm trying to kind of scale up. I work as a consultant myself, but I'm trying to figure out how to make agile consultants who use humor and pragmatism to really add value. And then I do the funniest PO course you can find anywhere, but I only do it as an internal course. So reach out if you want, and remember to join my workshop. Thank you for your attention. So I would like to show you a little, I'm not going to show you anything. I'm going to introduce a little surprise. So I would like to introduce to the scene, to the stage, my homie, agile rapper and consultant, Adam Janosch. I don't know what he's going to do, but there's no music.
We will see. Do, re, mi, fa, so.
Okay.
I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. Moderator, mentor, coach. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. I'm a scrum master. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. Moderator, mentor, coach. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I got
That's
it.
it. Thank you. Let's do some music together. So give me a beat. Okay, let's play the beat together. So what do you need for a simple beat? You need a clap, right? So everybody try it. Let's make a clap together. So okay, now we have to sync up. Okay. I'm a scrum master. A little slower. Little slower. Let's introduce a kick. Let's stop.
Stop.
We need another element. We need a kick. I don't know. Try this. Okay, maybe you do the kick. You do the kick. Because maybe this could work for you. Try this. Yeah, it's good.
Super.
You know, we trying to learn the elements here. Kick. And maybe you do just the kick.
Okay.
And you do the clap. So, and let us kick. Kick.
Oh.
Kick. Clap. Okay. Kick. Okay, it's hard, right? Okay. Okay, we get it. Feel it? You feel it? I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. Moderator, mentor, coach. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. I'm a scrum master, whatever that means. Moderator, mentor, coach. Individuals and interactions of a process of tools. A fool with a tool is still a fool. Let's redefine some rules. Feel as free as in an infinity pool. Okay. No, this looks like a job for agility, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little agility to turn a vision to reality. No, this looks like a job for agility, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little flexibility to turn a vision to reality. Okay. Oh. So what can we do now?
Are you just improvising?
Yes,
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
I'm adapting.
Yes. Wow.
Do, re, mi, fa, so. Let's warm up a little bit. I'm not a singer. I do rap because I can't sing, but we will try because we have to be have courage, and try new stuff. And okay. I'm still agile, better than I ever planned. Adapting like a true leader without control command. I'm still agile after all the sprints, continuously improving the outcome in my mind. I'm still agile. Yeah. I'm still agile. Yeah. I'm still agile. Yeah. I'm still agile. Yeah. No, this looks like a job for agility, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little flexibility to turn a vision to reality. I'm still agile. I'm still agile.
Yeah.
I'm still agile. Again, I'm still agile. Woo, thank you. So, and remember, if you want to lead, if you want to change something, start simple, as simple as a song, everybody can join in. Right?
Was that it?
It was. Thank you. Shall we do a selfie together? Huh? Selfie together.
We do a selfie.
No,
Okay,
no,
you
let's,
guys
let's do
sit,
this. Sit
tight.
down.
Okay, we do a selfie like this way.
Oh, that's you want to be a part of the picture?
Yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. Everybody say we love safe. Come on, you mean it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we still thank you so much. First of all, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Luxshan. And maybe we still have some time for the questions.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Are there
was-
any questions from?
I'm leaving, so I don't know. Any questions?
I can say someone.
If it's about rapping, I don't.
It's okay. It won't be that. You mentioned the budgeting stuff and
Sorry, what?
the budgeting stuff. How to-
Budgeting, yeah.
The
yeah,
question is how to fix it, how to do it better
Yeah.
in
Have-
an agile way.
There's like a movement called Beyond Budgeting. Have you heard about that? That's like a whole methodology. I'm not an expert. I'm taking a course later this year, but it's more about you know what the cost of people are. You know what the salaries are. You also know for next year what the salary is. So basically, get that out of the way, and then fund. You could say value streams like they do in Safe, or fund products based on the cost of the people and the license and all this stuff. You need to keep it running. So you don't map work and money, but people and money, and get that out of the way. Then you can spend your energy on prioritizing the right stuff, because people's salaries are already covered and the licenses are covered and all this stuff, right? So that's like a simple approach, but there are movements out there that go away from allocating projects and work and people and all that stuff. Just get it out of the discussion. You know what people are going to get, because we know the salaries, right? So, but beyond budgeting, I would say I'm not an expert on it, but look into that. I think that can solve a lot. Also, Safe, actually, the good thing about Safe is they talk about some high-level stuff. Also, maybe they should just keep with that, but especially value stream funding, they have a lot of stuff about. So look into that. So that was kind of a non-answer, but yeah.
Thank you. I
Welcome.
can see another question here.
My question is about when you said mapping. So sometimes the business is going in a different direction, they don't want to change. Have you ever seen a successful mapping like that, where the teams are, they're told to say, "Oh, go agile," and then, but ignore everything else, which is going in a completely different direction? Have you seen a successful mapping of that?
No, I have never seen that happen. I have not been in a company where that has happened. Always, those places where they've gone agile, it's been to accelerate the deliveries they already know they have to make. So they want to kind of optimize how they deliver. So I think there's a lot more potential in also finding out what to deliver. But in many cases, it's been the execution model and the delivery model, model that we want to improve by going agile. But I think that would be really nice or fun. I think maybe some places they do that. I have just unfortunately not tried it, where you really set the teams free and figure out your costs and your losses and all this stuff, and then go in the direction the client wants. But the places I've been, it's always been to optimize how to deliver what they're supposed to deliver. Anyways, right? But there's a lot of potential in that as well, I think. Yeah. Have you tried that? Yeah. Can we hear about that?
So I used to work for a small insurance company called AXA,
Great.
and they were trying this, where the delivery model of the whole insurance market was a bit different to the way we wanted to deliver. And they did it quite successfully, actually. I was very impressed by the way, because business, it's a huge mammoth task to change the way they're working.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, they actually mapped it successfully. But it took 10 years.
Yes.
I think that in parts, they were able to. Back then, they're huge giant, but where I was working with before in the health insurance space,
Yeah.
so they were in that. So I was just wondering whether.
Yeah, no. I think if you can kind of isolate into business units or independent parts of the organization, then it's much easier to accelerate stuff like that. But if there are interdependencies, it's a monolith, as you say. Like that's difficult to just change radically, at least. Yeah.
Okay, wait. there's a queue, and I sat here, and that was convenient because Jacek.
Yes. First of all, thank you. And now I really want to have one of those I Love Ram t-shirts.
Yes,
And
I have good price for you. Yeah.
do you have any suggestions how to reach decision makers? Because everybody understands what you
Yeah.
put into the strips,
Yeah.
but how to reach people who are really content? As we heard yesterday, most of middle top level managers are more content than the employees. How to reach them?
Yeah,
and
don't talk
convince
about
them?
agile. Talk about the benefits of agile instead. Don't mention the word agile. Talk about talk in their language.
Yeah.
Maybe that's money. Maybe it's lead time. Maybe it's customer happiness. I don't know what your managers like. Often it's money, right? But talk about benefits of going agile, for instance, delivering more of the right stuff earlier. Maybe that, how can we deliver? Don't say faster, because then they'll think people are going to code faster. But delivering stuff earlier, delivering more of the right stuff, getting a higher turnover. I think you should talk about the benefits of going agile in their language. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
because people are
Okay.
tired of hearing the word agile, right? So
Hi, you said that you're thinking about expanding your network of consultants. Any certification program coming up?
I don't know. Can you make a lot of money on it? I don't know. No certifications. So I'm figuring out how can I kind of replicate what I do. And I'm starting in Denmark. I'm based out of Denmark. And when I find, and I have found a partner as well. So when we find a recipe for that, I think we'll figure out how to do it. I don't think there'll be certifications, but more interviews. Certifications in my eyes is very much bullshit. So yeah.
Okay, I saw another question here.
Yeah, I have a question because you said about humor. How can you help us? And I'm also a comedian, so I feel that in the
Let's hear a
team,
joke.
it's all the time happening. Maybe during the workshop, okay, because
very
I
good,
send
yeah.
it. But I feel that in the team, it's easy, to have a silly, fun stuff.
Yes.
But is it inappropriate, to joke with top management? I feel like it's. What's your experience? Because for me, it's like I feel like there.
So I'm in a country in Denmark where it's really flat hierarchy, right? You can make fun of everyone, anyone, basically. Maybe some companies you don't, but generally in Denmark, very flat hierarchy. So I got this question a lot also in other like Asian cultures and so on. That's not so popular to do it. But I think in general, if you start by making fun of yourself or your own role, I don't know, what is your role, Scrum Master?
I'm a test architect.
Yes.
So it wasn't mentioned in your presentation.
No, but you can still make a lot of fun of that. role.
Yeah, of course. And of the other, yeah,
Yes.
not of myself, but others is also fun.
But starting a culture, what we did when we started with the comic strip, we basically just hung them on walls, also where management were, and people started like noticing, and then we open up for that culture of actually laughing. We're not laughing at people, we're laughing at the system, right? We're laughing at roles. Of course, some roles have a name, a named person, but we need to make sure that we start by making fun of ourselves. That's what worked for me. And also, it's a very cultural thing. Some companies, this won't work. But I think in all teams, it can work. But moving it beyond the team level, like scaling humor or the scaled humor framework, that you need to know the temperature of your organization, I think. But I think globally, generally, if you make fun of your own role and so on, that's the starting point. We can discuss that in the workshop.
Oh yeah.